everybody, to Getting a Grip on the Michigan Business Network. I am Mike Maddox. I am your host. I bring you this show every week. Rain or shine, snow, sleet, hail, nothing stops me from doing this. I get up and just eager to do this show with you. And I'm so glad you're listening. And I'm really eager to do the show this week because my guest is a longtime friend and a super fascinating guest. You guys are going to really enjoy what we hear from John Mashni. John, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Mike. It's awesome to be with you.
You know, John, I want to start with just having you talk about the different things that you're involved with, because I was going to say, are you an entrepreneur? But I don't need to ask you that, because when I look at so many things that you do, you might be the definition of entrepreneur for me. So, you know, John, you're an attorney. You're a trusted advisor, business advisor to business owners, artists, entrepreneurs. Where you work as an attorney is tailored English Duma. You're an adjunct professor at Western Michigan, and you're an author of now 4 books that have been published, including some Amazon bestsellers. So, I mean, fill in some gaps here, dude. When do you sleep?
That maybe is a true weakness, poor sleeping habits for sure. Honestly, all that stuff, it just comes from my interest, right? I went to film school many years ago, loved telling stories, and that translated into being involved with business and audio and video and media and marketing and all that kind of stuff. So I did that for about 10 years before I went to law school. And then in law school, I knew that I really liked working with entrepreneurs and business owners and creative people. And that led me to kind of a business track and intellectual property track. And so then, started, just learning business law, practicing in that area. And a few years after law school, I started to realize I have to keep writing and telling stories. And that's when a lot of my writing really took off. I wrote over 100 articles, like nonfiction type articles. And then I was working on a longer book. And I'd actually written a few screenplays too. So I just love telling stories. And I really had no time. And so it really pressed me or forced me to realize, like, how can I tell stories in a way where I don't have very much time? And that's what led to the children's books, where I could create stories that I'd really just told my kids. I had no intention of like becoming a children's book author because I'm so busy with the law practice, teaching, I produce movies. And so I just had no time. And then the children's books, I figured out I could do that with my spare time, and it just turned into something super fun I get to do with my kids.
Well, and I think that was knowing you, that was the key aspect of it. Is the first book, actually all of them are children's books, but the first one especially, what drew you to it was a project you could and did do with your kids. So they helped you write it. So this was a way for you to be intentionally involved with them in a passion of yours, which became a passion of theirs, right?
Yeah. And I actually wrote an article called Your Kids Are Horrible Business Partners, but Wonderful Advisors, right? So it really talked about exactly this idea of like building something with your kids. Because I think in business and being entrepreneurial, one of the hardest things that I struggle with is how to show my kids part of my life, what I'm thinking about, how I'm acting professionally. It's really hard. For me, if my kids said, "Dad, we want to go to work with you," it would literally be like me on the phone or me typing all day, and that's it. Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
It would be like, your job is horrible, right?
Yeah.
And maybe my job is horrible sometimes, but the reality is I wanted a way to collaborate them and teach them how to be an entrepreneur, how to create something, how to take an idea and not wait for somebody else to say, "Oh, let's do it." How to say, "Hey, I have an idea. I'm going to do it." Like, what does that mean? And so I just wanted to be that person for them that says, "Hey, let's do something fun and a little bit crazy, but let's do it together."
That's completely inspirational to me, and I think you're right. I've had my kids. I have 5 kids, and I've had all of them at one point or another come to work with me, and it's been horrible for them because it's been exactly what you described. It's been me on the phone or on Teams calls or at my keyboard, and they're looking at me like. In fact, all of them did not go into business for that reason. They're like, I don't want to do that. Like, I'm not sitting in that chair doing that, but they're involved in other things that they're passionate about. So I give you a lot of credit for leaning in, and that had to be a tremendous experience. I also love, your statement that they're horrible business partners, but great advisors.
That's right. That's right. When they're like, Dad, I'm gonna do this, or hey kids, can you help with this? It's like, no, it's just not gonna happen. I mean, the reality is I wrote the books, but it was inspired by them, right? And like
Yeah,
that's the truth. And
yeah.
but I would say it's kind of like having a muse in some ways, right? Like it's priceless to see your kids open up a book and see their name on the dedication page and just kind of their face completely light up, or going into a kindergartner's classroom and reading a book to their class and their name is in the book, right? Their name is the main character. And just my daughter Esme picked out a dress a week in advance on the day that I was going to come in, and she was so excited, right? And it's actually in the book, the name of the character was her name. And just like that to me is, I don't care how much
That's,
money someone's going to
yeah,
say it's
it
worth
was worth all of it right there.
it's priceless, right?
That's fantastic. And we're out of time in this segment. I appreciate you sharing that with us. We're going to come back after this and we're going to talk about EOS and what EOS has meant to John. As you can tell already, he's an entrepreneur and involved in so many things. John's been my attorney for years. And one of the things I appreciate about you, John, is your entrepreneurial mind. And the listeners will get an appreciation just having heard you describe the things that you do. Your entrepreneurial mind helps entrepreneurs like me because you get us, like you are us, right? So that matters. And so we're going to come back and we're going to talk about how EOS has been a part of that. And don't go anywhere. This is Getting a Grip on the Michigan Business Network, and we will be right back after this.